Welcome to Newfoundland Labrador. You got to come back and enjoy it when you're not working.
Targa Newfoundland, an automotive adventure. It's the most amazing car rally you'll ever see. It's 5 days of high-performance driving on Newfoundland's spectacular roads. It's the 4th annual event. Everyone loves the show as amazing cars hit the pavement. We've got over 85 historic, classic, and modern vehicles racing the clock. Even the Premier of the province of Newfoundland and Labrador, Danny Williams, gets involved.
I'm so very excited about this. I'm a car lover myself. I'm a collector of cars, and I'm a prowler, and I have a Viper and everything else. I like to drive fast. That's sort of the story of my life. To be part of this is like a lifetime dream for me. I'm thrilled to have all these fabulous cars and these wonderful people from all over the world in our province. It's a real high for me, believe me. This is an important event to our people, and we do embrace everybody who comes here and welcome them and wish that they'll come back, of course, again next year.
How cool is that? The Premier drives a Viper. We're doing the prologue in Pleasantville and Flat Rock. These stages aren't scored, but let the teams shake down their cars and check out the competition. Now, Tom Hayes has come all the way from Ireland to run this great 51 Studebaker Starlight Coupe, one of the oldest cars in the event, and this $1 million baby, a 58 Ferrari 250 GT.
4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Those are very brave owners, Stephen and Lynn Dudley from Wisconsin. Now, the prologue times allow the organizers to set the running order of the event. The cars start at 30-second intervals with the fastest at the back of the field. Roy Hopkins and Adrian Hughes from New York won the Modern Division last year in this BMW M3. North Carolina's Casey Holtzman's beautiful 911 Porsche is one of many Porsches in the field. Targa always draws a strong Porsche group. Now, the Painter brothers, John and Clark from Nova Scotia, have returned with the Subaru Canada Rally team. Now, most drivers here are amateurs, but Vermont's John Buffum is a pro. This 11-time U.S. Rally champion is driving a full-race Subaru STI loaded with our cameras. Now, Ontario's Tony Kloosterman is a manager for Canada Post with son Ryan co-driving. Tony's a veteran racer, but he's new to Targa, and he's been caught out already by the tricky conditions.
Spun it, couldn't get it straight again, and ended up in the ditch about knee-high in sewage. Too fast, too wet.
You guys okay?
I'm a little sore. I don't know about my arm. I don't know what's wrong with it, but I took the roll bar off the side of my arm. The whole side of my leg, right side.
Car doesn't look too bad from this angle. We'll get back to the mile one tonight. We'll get her back together for tomorrow.
Well, the Kloostermans work all night to fix the car with help from St. John's Mechanics. Here's your trouble. Buddy's in the trunk. Now, Targa's highly competitive, but it's social too. Every night, the drivers get to show off their cars to the local fans. A real camaraderie forms, the spirit of Targa. Well, that's enough prologue. Let's get racing. I'm Jim Kenzie, and we're here in beautiful downtown Holyrood, ready to start the 4th annual Targa Newfoundland. The cars are ready. We got about 85 entries this year. The drivers and navigators are ready. The crowds are ready, and the roads are ready. So it's time to rock and roll on the rock. Day 1 will consist of 8 closed road sections called special stages around the North Avalon Peninsula. From St. John's, we follow the Trans-Canada Highway to the start of Stage 1, Holyrood Harbour, Maine, followed by Collier's Conception Harbour, Marysvale, the charming Brigus, then into Spaniards Bay for lunch. There's a stage coming out of town and then a long high-speed stage along the Osprey Trail. And then we finish the spectacular Day 1 with a challenging stage through the suburban streets of Gander. It's going to be a more intense and demanding competition than ever before, and it'll get tougher as the week goes on. Many stages have been altered from previous years, and some are completely new. Now, the Kloostermans are back after their wreck yesterday. Ryan actually has a broken arm, but that's not going to stop him from navigating for Dad. Richard Kimber is back in his '94 Toyota Supra Twin Turbo. He's originally from Australia via New Zealand, but he's now a CEO of a bank in England. Now here he's being chased by Ontario dentist Robert Paccioni in a crazy fast '99 Mustang GT. A 2-time Classic winner Bill Arnold is back again to defend his title. He loves Newfoundland and has never missed a Targa. Chrysler executive Dan Knott is driving a new 300C SRT8, and Ralph Schill is driving one of the new Charger SRT8s that he designed. The factory team has come all the way from Detroit to show off these modern muscle cars. Here's Casey Holtzman's Porsche again. He's been to Targa before, but just had to come back for more. A new stage at Marysville, pub patrons enjoy the view of cars flying over a dip in the road. This crossroads is marked as a double caution. I hope everybody's paying attention. A Holtzman passing our camera car. Wow, huge air. Oh, he's out of control. He crashes out of sight on the rock wall. Let's take another look. Whoa, that's gonna hurt. Now the Porsche is ruined, but Casey and his co-driver Bob Seville are okay, thanks to roll cages and helmets. The road is blocked and the stage is now cancelled. Holtzman is crushed that his Targa is over so soon. Here New Zealanders Richard Patterson and Tony Matson in their adorable 59 Mini. Yes, folks, adorable is the only word for this little car. But I tell you, it runs hard. Richard's done a lot of engineering on this car. I see that red tape. That means you're not supposed to stand there. And that's pretty much why. All the modifications in the world, Richard, you still got to make those corners. But there's something about Minis. The fans just love them. Now, Ontario's Glenn Clark is another Targa favorite. He's always competitive in his Porsche 911. Hey, but co-driver Evan Gamblin, you got to keep that door closed. Now, even though he's not trying to win the rally, John Buffum is driving hard to put on a good show for the spectators. He gets a cheer everywhere he goes in this awesome Subaru. Can you believe this car has nearly 500 horsepower? Now, Pennsylvania's Peter Rotelli is a first-time Targa entrant.
I saw it on primetime television, and was just couldn't even wait for the commercial to get up and watch get onto the internet and log on to the website to find out more about it, and it just kind of cultivated from there.
Now here at the Spaniards Bay lunch stop, driver Gord Ross is here all the way from Ontario with his family and his 1972 Volvo. It's his first Targa.
First time racing experience, and it's been a lot of fun. My wife is running baby support and family support, and my co-driver and I have just out really to have a good time and learn what we can, but it's been a hoot so far.
Now here are Peter Gale and John Simonson in their gorgeous 66 Corvette. They had a challenge getting to Newfoundland, engine problems on the long drive from Alberta, but they found the parts and made new friends along the way. Last stage of the day through the streets of Gander. Now the organizers have double-checked to make sure no spectators or pets are in the way. Here's what Roy Hopkins thinks about this.
To be racing through people's neighborhood and have them enjoy it as we go by, it's special and unique. We don't get to do this anywhere else.
Sadly, their title defense ends here in Gander at the end of day one. It looks like the motor has let go in their BMW M3. Bad luck, but there's always next year, Roy. It's the first rule of motorsport. Finish first, you gotta finish. Now, hot contenders in the modern division are Ernie Jakubowski and Bill Comat from Ontario. Ernie is a 6-time Canadian off-road champion, and Bill's a Porsche driving instructor.
With all the normal road racing we do with that car, we never turn the steering wheel full lock, and so it's a little bit different, but we're having a lot of fun doing it.
Australian Ralph Brandt has his whole family hooked on Targa. Daughter Alicia co-drives their 1970 Volvo, and wife Diane is one of thousands of Targa volunteers. Local Gander boys Brad Mellendy and Graham Tweedy love power sliding their 88 Chevy SS Monte Carlo, but especially here, virtually in front of their own houses.
We know Gander like the back of our hand. It's good fun going around there legally too. Smiles will be on our face, I imagine, in the car the whole time.
You can see those smiles from here. Now the slippery and wet conditions have even caught out rally legend John Buffum.
20 left.
And holding the route book, our cameraman co-pilot Claude Garapi, but he slides right past that left turn. Watch this recovery. Don't try that at home, kids. Maybe he just wanted to grab a red tape souvenir from Newfoundland. But that's why we have a bumper cam. Now it's rendezvous time at the end of a long day inside the Gander Community Center. Oklahoma sports car racer Mark Bullock and his son Mark Jr. are first-time competitors in a Porsche Cayenne.
Appreciate it. We've really looked forward to it. We prepared a lot for it. He's had to go through a lot of schools and a lot of racing experiences to get here, competition-wise. And so it's just been fantastic for us to finally get here. We like it very much.
Now from happy to heartbroken, Casey Holtzman had a very short Targa, but he's taken it well.
Car was running great, absolutely great. Just that one jump really caught us off guard. So surprised me, I'm sure, as much as it surprised Bob and most everybody else.
But from fast cars to slow icebergs, there's always something spectacular to see in Newfoundland. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Targa Newfoundland. I'm Jim Kenzie. More spectacular scenery and spectacular rally action. Day 2 will take us around the Bay of Exploits. We'll start by running the tough Gander stage in the opposite direction from last night. Then there's some tight hairpins in Norris Arm, a stage in Botwood, and then a stage in Point Leamington up to the lunch stop at Leading Tickles. Then it's south again to new stages in Grand Falls, Windsor, and in Bishop's Falls, and then a reverse of Norris Arm in case we didn't get it right this morning. Finally back to Gander for the overnight. Now on the very first stage through Gander, Bill Arnold is tied for the lead in the Classic Division until this little mistake sets him back by 25 seconds. We won't say whether it's the driver or co-driver's fault, but they've lost time and they're behind the 8 ball now. That beeping is a timer saying, "You're late, you're late," and I'm not kidding. Now, Minnesotan Tom Silver's stunning 65 Mustang is running flawlessly. Arnold's error has given Tom a clear lead in the Classic Division. But the defending champ isn't about to give up. Here's Arnold with the camera car in hot pursuit. He gets a kick out of these tight Targa hairpins.
Down to first gear, all the way off the gas, car rotates, get hard on the gas, spin it around the rest of the way, and go.
Now at age 17, Mark Bullock is the youngest entrant ever in Targa. He takes turns driving the Cayenne with his dad. We don't know who was at the wheel here. We better not say. Not too much damage, though. Now, Dan Knott is in charge of Daimler Chrysler's SRT Performance Division. He's doing really well in the Chrysler 300C, his first ever rally. But look in the background. Ouch. Dennis James' Subaru has whacked the Bullock's Porsche, and the Porsche Cayenne is basically out of the Targa. What a shame. Wrong place, wrong time. Now here's me in a factory-entered Cooper S. As a Targa co-founder, I come here every year. Co-driver is Nova Scotia's Brian Bourvenier, and he doesn't get carsick like my last co-driver did. Now Ontario's Afshin Montezeri pushes his 94 Mustang a bit too hard here at Norris Arm. He manages to recover, but here comes Ernie Jakubowski, and he seizes the chance to get by. Now here are brothers John and Clark Painter in the Subaru STI. This is part of the Subaru Canada Rally team. He's got over 400 horsepower on his right foot. Ooh, looks like it's almost a bit too much there, John. You got to work in those handbrake turns, boy. Here's the view out the back of the camera car. You can see this car is gaining rapidly. That's Ernie Jakubowski. He's leading the modern division after a great first day. In addition to his racing experience, Ernie owns a shop that repairs high-performance motor cars. His very fast 911 is excellent advertising. Now the sign for Point Leamington says, "Please drive slow," but not today. This is the next stage. Ralph Schill raced a Dodge Neon on 16 different circuits this year to hone his skills just for Targa.
Targa is like the triathlon of motorsports. It's probably the most grueling thing I've ever had to do because it gets harder every day, you get tired every day, so it's a challenge. It's a lot of fun still, but you have to respect it. And I think it's something you learn and you should do it a couple years in a row and you get better and better at it.
Now, a guy who has done it more than a couple of years in a row is Glenn Clark. The engineering consultant is currently second in the modern division. And here he makes a nice pass on Tom Silver's Mustang, which is leading the Classic Division. Now, lunch at Leading Tickles, a highlight. Look at that scenery. That's the North Atlantic shoreline. We're right on there. And the food, of course, is great. As one local said, "Moose on your plate is better than moose on your car." And here's Ryan Kloosterman helping his dad fix the car despite his broken arm that he got on the prologue stage. Now, John Buffum chats with Mike Bell, who co-drives the crowd-pleasing Corvette Z06, driven by Mark Swain.
The whole atmosphere is the people. You're going through their town, they're excited to have you there, and they're excited to tell you about what their roads have to offer. So it's pretty phenomenal that they let us do it, and we try and give them something back, and that's entertainment.
Now the next stage is Grand Falls, Windsor, and Mark is going really well, keeping it clean and tidy through these twisted streets. Now the competition is heating up. Ontario's Keith Townsend and Jen Horsey are pushing hard in their 2005 Subaru STI. They're taking on the Subaru Canada team and faring very well. Bill Arnold is trying to make up time after his little mishap this morning in Gander. He has his 72 BMW Bavaria on 3 wheels at every chance. Now John Buffham's seen a lot in his long rally career. Here he's doing a perfect handbrake turn. He could hardly believe his eyes what he saw in Newfoundland.
I think you'd have to have a special kind of people, because the people whose towns we go through racing have got to have a great mental attitude and great outlook on life to let us drive through their small town flat out on lefts and rights in their housing developments, and they seem to enjoy it. They're all extremely safe in their where they stand, and I think they enjoy it.
Now the whole town of Gander certainly enjoys it.
Glad he came all the way from Detroit.
Glad? Are you kidding me? I'm already thinking about next year.
This race has matured in such a short period of time into truly an international event. And I've run others, and I have to say this is probably the best organized rally I've ever run.
Now too many legs under Patterson's Mini is never a good sign. As they used to say about old British cars, it's not broken, it's charming. More Newfoundland charm coming up. Welcome back to Targa Newfoundland. At more than 2,200 kilometers, it's North America's longest car rally. Day 3 winds around Newfoundland's scenic Kittiwake coast with 6 stages. We start out from Gander, and the cars run out to the Atlantic coast, to the first stage of the day in picturesque Musgrave Harbor. Then on to beautiful but challenging stages in New West Valley, Greens Pond, East Port Peninsula, and Port Blandford. The final stage is a daunting 5-kilometer run through the streets of Clarenville to our overnight stop. 3-time Targa veteran Tom Silver loves Targa, but he's always a bit nervous.
Houses, curbs, telephone poles, it's unnerving. I've never run a race where you come that close to object. This is unnerving because I don't know how much picket fences cost, but I know I don't want to buy any.
Now, Brian and I don't want to become part of the scenery either, but it's hard not to be distracted by it. The rugged Atlantic coastline, the charming villages, it's breathtaking. Now here we're watching Bob Paccioni in his Mustang. This is from our camera car. Now, in case you're wondering how old Volvos and new Mustangs can compete with each other, Targa uses a complex handicapping system based on the car's age, engine size, and modification level. Any way you slice it, the cream always rises to the top. Pete Barr of New Jersey and Bob Clark of Maryland are blasting along on their 1998 Dodge Neon. Looks like a car I rented in San Diego airport one day. Mine didn't sound like that, though. Now, Targa Newfoundland co-founder Doug Mepham's 71 Volvo has been to every Targa. He owns his own PR company, yet still has found time to compete with this very car in New Zealand and with me in Tasmania back in 2002. Now, we talked about picket fences earlier. Barr and Clark have bought some picket fence. Guys, you're supposed to enjoy the scenery, not become part of it, but the driver always has an explanation.
I think we got airborne here, landed over here and then rolled over. And we're fine. We're gonna put a new windshield on it. Depends on whether Carl destroys the car getting it out. But he should do all right, needs a new windshield. I think that's all. And hopefully we're back in the fray tomorrow.
Well, after a friendly lunch stop in New West Valley, the cars regroup and move on to spectacular Greens Pond. In its heyday in the 1700s, it was Newfoundland's unofficial capital. Targa veterans Scott Smith and Peter Guagenti from California are having a very good run in their BMW 323 here at Greens Pond. This will help make up for some trouble they had yesterday, which included some missed stages. Nice job in that uphill corner. Richard Kimber and Brian O'Kane in the Toyota are still in the hunt in the modern division. That's for cars built in 1977 or later. That's one of 3 divisions in Targa competition. The Classic division is for cars built before 1977, while Unlimited is for anything goes. Now here's Quebec journalist Emile Bachon and engineer Pierre Langlois in a factory-backed Kia Spectra 5. The green spot is really testing them here. Look out, boys, the turn is tighter than you thought. A little high-speed farming there. And off they go in a cloud of smoke. On to our next stage now in beautiful Eastport. Here we've got Rob Paccioni and Brian Maxwell taking us on a little tour. The hairpin shown here sets the tempo for the rest of the stage. A squealing tire is a happy tire. But now we're going to show you how a master like John Buffum uses a handbrake to get around a hairpin. He tugs on the lever right there. The back end comes around, straightens the wheel, nails the gas. Get it wrong and it's a disaster. Get it right and it's like a little dance. Painter still hasn't figured it out. Here come the Kloostermans. Yeah, well, they get the hairpin more or less right, but they've got other problems. Their 5-speed transmission is now a 3-speed.
Have a quick look under the car, boys. Have a quick look under the car. See if there's anything dripping.
Yeah, get something dripping
Yeah.
in the middle.
How bad? Thanks.
Is it bad?
No, it's really small drops.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
No problem.
Now here in Clarenville, Newfoundland boys Ken Bavis and Trevor Giles are having a great time in their '92 Honda Civic.
It's a lot harder than it looks. We videotape it when we play it back for our friends. They don't think we're all going that fast, but really when you're in the driver's seat and you're in the navigator's seat, 150 kilometers an hour over a blind crest into a left-hand turn, it's difficult. It's really difficult, and it's a lot faster when you're in the car.
You sure got that right. Now here's how it looks to Mark Swain and Mike Bell in that Corvette Z06. Mark's a professional marketing consultant and Mike's an engineer. But John Buffum is a pro driver, and I noticed the Subaru is almost dead stopped, and in just a couple of 100 meters, he's caught up to him. Watch this slide coming up right here. That's a thing of beauty. Now here's Claude Garapi, co-driver.
The guy should rent himself out as a ride, like a thrill ride. Honestly, it's I don't know how to describe it. It's just that somebody to have that kind of control of a car is unbelievable.
Now driving fast is all about vision, looking way down the road to get the overall picture. You've also got to listen to your co-driver who calls out warnings of hidden dangers that are listed in the route book. And you've got to look directly in front of the car, watching for dips and bumps. We don't want to use that pothole word. Now our camera car has tiny little cameras mounted everywhere, on the roof, on the front and rear bumpers, the hood and the trunk, to get these great shots of Swain's Corvette. And we have inside cameras too.
Oh, here he is.
There's Swain and Bell coming through the flying finish, and they've done a great time.
Right on! We just freaking set a track record, my friend.
No, we didn't. The guy kept with us.
Cars were really nice, and we just had a wonderful, wonderful afternoon here on Bayview Road in beautiful downtown Clarenville.
Well, at the arena, it seems like half the crews are fixing their cars. Some of them will be up all night working before they get to drive again. Now that includes Tom Silver, who's replacing his own clutch. Now he's still leading the Classic division over Bill Arnold by a substantial margin. Now some drivers have the time to sign autographs, but others, like Targa co-founder Doug Mepham, well, he's out of contention.
We're beyond normal maintenance here. We're into major heart surgery. We've lost one valve, more suspect. Problem now is parts. We were done by lunch and we struggled back here, so we've given up the afternoon stages. We're pretty much out of this.
Now the survivors get a free car wash, the painters bought the kids some pizza in the spirit of Targa, and we'll be back soon with Day 4. Day 4 of the Targa Newfoundland. These gorgeous cars on the world's longest highway, the Trans-Canada. We call this a transit. It takes us to the start of our first stage. Now, in the history of Targa Newfoundland, nobody has ever run the Heritage Trail's 8 stages without incurring penalties. A fabulous new stage, 16 kilometers long, kicks off the day at Bay Largent Harbour Mill. Then we head southward through the Burin Peninsula with stages in Garnish, Marystown, Fox Cove Mortier, and on to lunch in scenic Burin. After lunch, we'll race out of Burin to historic Fortune and Frenchman's Cove. Finally, a reverse run through Marystown, after which exhausted crews make overnight repairs at the Marystown Arena. The residents of the tiny village of Harbour Mill are so generous and welcoming. The main street is filled with Targa cars and the hall with breakfast goodies. Local musicians even gave us this tune for our show. Now it's driver Mark Swain's birthday, so he gets a kiss from our cameraman. The drivers check their scores, and breathalyzers are a new rule for Targa this year. Green light for him. Now this is Glenn Clark on the stage out of Harbour Mill. He worked for 3 hours on that long transit from Clarenville this morning in a moving closed trailer to fix his Porsche's electrical problems.
And I'm in the back of underneath the seat, in the back of the car with a flashlight in my mouth and a soldering iron, doing one of these, trying to solder all the wires back together.
Now the Beckers drove 9 days from Victoria, BC to be in touring class.
I was navigating, and I told him it was caution, but I guess when we came around the corner, he lost control. And
No,
went
that's
into
not
it.
true. That's not entirely true. It's just I think the steering actually snapped, the front suspension steering.
Now the silver lining to this cloud is that John and Anna got to experience that famous Newfoundland hospitality.
Jane over at the house over there on the other side politely invited us in for some tea, so went inside and had some tea while waiting for all the cars to pass by.
No time for tea for Brian and me. We're currently leading the Unlimited division. The camera car couldn't catch us in the Harbour Mill stage, but they did manage to catch us up in Garnish. And here we go.
Really hard right, don't cut.
Look how that Mini handles, eh?
And jog right downhill. And caution, he left.
Now, while we had a great time on the run from Garnish to Frenchman's Cove, Ralph Gilles and Eddie Alterman in the Dodge Charger ended their rally on this stage. Here's what the wreckage looked like from the camera in Bill Arnold's car.
Well, we got lost on our notes a little bit, and after that, the red mist set in, and we went through a corner probably a little faster than we should and just lost it. You know, the front end scrubbed away a little bit.
Now, everyone's on the ragged edge at this point. Richard Patterson's old Mini does a beautiful pirouette, but what's his trunk doing open? This is our first pass through Marystown. This is Peter Wright and Judd Buchanan in that fabulous old Acadian. And here's Bill Arnold. Wow, that looks like the Targa Tango. Rick McLeod, well, he just loves to power slide that Mustang, and the crowds love it. Now, skid marks on the road tell the story. The Chrysler 300 has crashed. Here's driver Dan Knott.
If I had a foot more road, which is what every racer says, and just a little more talent, I'd have made it around the corner and not go into the ditch.
Now the classic Fox Cove to Burin run through some of the most spectacular scenery anywhere and some challenging jumps. Here's Mark Swain's flying Corvette. Now it doesn't seem so graceful from inside the car. Could he be having more fun? Now lunch on a beautiful day in Burin means catching up with old friends and making new ones. The music just made me want to dance. Look at that footwork. Now everyone's loving the Targa atmosphere, including first-timers.
We're feeling it today, but we still got a smile on our face and our hands full at lunch stop, so we're having a good time.
About a quarter of the cars are entered in the Grand Touring competition, which focuses on timing and navigational skills. It's a great way to try Targa for the first time or to drive at a gentler pace. Instead of a flat-out race against the clock, teams must complete the stages within a specified time. Now the times get tighter as the week progresses, so teams must become more precise in their timing and their driving. Speeds are lower than the Targa competition, but the stages are still closed to the public so the drivers can use all of the road. Only basic safety equipment is required, so any street-legal vehicle can run. Grand Touring is divided into equipped or unequipped, depending on whether the car has a proper rally computer. Well, there's a 1925 Stutz. What a variety of cars here. The most expensive might be that Stutz, or maybe this $400,000 Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Gullwing. The cheapest, well, that's got to be this $400 Volkswagen Jetta. Oops, that part just fell off. It's down to $399. Now, Brian Crockett and Gail Walker are leading the equipped class with a perfect score. In unequipped, also clean, brothers Mark and Lawrence Hacking in their factory-entered Mitsubishi Eclipse. Remember Peter Rotelli? Well, he crashed his Targa car, but he's continuing on in a friend's Pontiac in touring. He's come all the way from Pennsylvania. One way or another, he's going to finish this thing. We're in Buren now. There's a run down to Fox Cove. The Klusterman father and son team rev it up, but listen very closely. You might hear something here. Boom, that's third gear. It's gone. They've already lost second and fourth, so it's pretty slow from here on in. And poor young Ryan with his broken arm, well, he's pretty much getting ready to quit.
We have to finish it.
We can't. How are you going to finish it?
We will finish it.
How?
Ryan?
We're not going to get it, Dad. It's over. It's over.
We still have to finish. We can't give up. We have to finish this rally.
Wow, that's powerful stuff. Now, here's a tricky corner that's created problems in previous years. Get it wrong and it's 20 meters straight into salt water. Whoa! Well, I guess no touch, no foul. Robert Birch and Desmond Lee managed to keep that 66 Volvo off the guardrail. But I wouldn't want to be the owner of that red car sitting right there. Now here come Mark Scott and Christopher Payne in a 66 Porsche 911. Guess what? Well, now that was a touch. On the extremely tight streets of Fortune, John Painter still hasn't got the handbrake turn thing figured out. Just about drops into the neighbors there. Hi, how you getting on? A Painter consistently posts the fastest times, but his handicap is much higher than for the older cars. These guys are front row seats for all the action. There's that Porsche again. But Richard Kimber's Toyota eventually gets past him. Now, Judd Buchanan wins this stage. He and co-driver Peter Wright are making a strong comeback after earlier problems. There's a lot of 8-cylinder power under this hood, and as you can hear, not much of a muffler. Businessman Tom Silver has recovered from his clutch problems and has an excellent drive in Marystown to finish the day. He still leads the Classic division over Bill Arnold with just one day to go. But the poor Klustermans, more trouble in their Subaru.
The thing just exploded. We literally could hear it inside the driver's compartment. We finished that stage and only missed trophy time by 1 second.
Okay, we're finishing this one. Let's go. Let's get it in. Okay, let me do it. Get out of here. I'll do it.
Wow. Now the car can't take the start, so John Buffum helps push the car out of the way. But the Subaru Canada team is going to try and help the Klustermans get this car back in the rally. That's the spirit of Targa. Now the Painter brothers are chased by Buffum and Garapi in the camera car. Painter wins the stage. This is like watching a video game. Those of us still left in the rally are having more fun than God ever intended. Rick McLeod and Steve McKelvey enjoy putting on a show for the crowd, and they give the spectators at the Marystown Hairpin a great reason to cheer. And what's with doors on Porsches in this event? Now, a local loaned us this crane for this aerial shot, and he didn't even want a credit for it. I tell you, that's the Newfoundland attitude. But the biggest cheers are always for Betty the Little Minnie. Now it's going to be a long night for the Klustermans at the Marystown Arena. They've got first, fourth, and fifth gears. But will they give up? You'll find out when we come back for the last day of Targa.
I would like to race when I'm a big boy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Day 5, the last day of our automotive adventure on the rock, the Targa Newfoundland. It all comes down to the shootout on the lovely South Avalon Peninsula. It's the longest and toughest day of the entire rally. From our overnight in Marystown, we have a long transit to the beginning of 112 kilometers of stages today, not made any easier by the fact that it's raining. First, it's the beautiful Osprey Trail, then Placentia, Point Verde St. Bride's, Branch, North Harbor, Conception Bay South Seal Cove, and a new twisty stage at the Killick Coast. Now here's Classic Division leader Tom Silver.
I'm not going to pay any attention to the other cars that I'm competing in. I'm going to run my own race. I rather like the rain. I've got narrower tires than Judd Buchanan and Bill Arnold, and maybe that'll help me through. They've got a lot more horsepower, but we're going to give it our all.
Silver and co-driver David Bruce have never trailed since the start of this thing, but the margin has slipped to just a few seconds over Bill Arnold and co-driver Alan Ryle. Arnold has won his division 3 years straight.
The only thing I can do is try and zero every stage today and hope that other people take penalties. That's the only thing I can do.
Now you can only use 6 tires in Targa. A separate set of rain tires is therefore out of the question. You have to choose a good all-rounder with 2 spares. Arnold's not saving the car anymore, he's going for it. But modern division leader Ernie Jakubowski can afford to be a little more conservative, but he's looking pretty confident. But what he has to make sure is that he doesn't get overconfident and lose his focus. He's got to keep paying attention and make sure he doesn't lose it on the last day. But one guy who does have his work cut out for him is Judd Buchanan.
What's my strategy for today? To overcome my deficit from yesterday and pass. We'll be charging hard.
What's new there? Judd always charges. He never pays cash. Judd's got a lot of road-hugging weight there, so he's sticking to the pavement. But you want to see some rally cars catching air? Now that was fun. Russ Carlin and David McIntyre are having a good run in the Osprey Trail. Until this. Well, they're a little bit humbled, but they did get going again with no serious damage done. Now in Placentia, Keith Townsend catches and passes me going over the lift bridge. The nerve of some people. Well, Keith was the absolute fastest through the stage, and I can personally vouch for that. Just watch how much distance he gains on me in a very short period of time. If it wasn't any dust, he'd be leaving me in it. These narrow roads reflect the fact that Placentia is one of Newfoundland's oldest settlements. The citizens were delighted with some last-minute fixes to their roads. No one could say who the pothole-fixing fairies were or when they had visited, but there were theories.
It must be last night because they weren't done yesterday.
Whatever way it's done, the holes are covered, and that's about they tell the difference. Just in time for winter.
Here's the way to drive an old Ferrari, passing a Porsche within sight of the finish line. Enzo would be proud. Here's Ralph Grant, the old Volvo. Scott Canoe, Targa executive. He's driven this black beauty in every Targa Newfoundland so far. Brian and Ken Jarvis just about stuff it right here. Whew. The BMW stalls, but fortunately some spectators come to their aid. They're going to push them across the finish line, which is just around that corner. Stay tuned for the exciting finish of Targa Newfoundland. Rain just adds an extra sheen to Newfoundland as Targa continues in Placentia. Targa President Bob Canoe is acting like a traffic cop here. Now, a few of these cars have air conditioning, but this week we haven't really needed it. The lunch stop means good down-home cooking, but everybody's really worried about the rain.
I'm gonna kind of backpedal a little bit here. I don't want to not finish, but I'm gonna try not to let anybody get ahead of me too. So far, so good.
Time is running out for Bill Arnold.
I'm hoping that it's a little bit damp, but they run us in dry conditions, so I got a chance to move up.
We worked all night to strip the transmission out of the car, rebuilt it basically, and now we have first, fourth, and fifth gears. And it's still worth doing. We'll be back for sure. We've learned a lot this year, and despite all the problems, we've had a great time.
Well, I'm trying to keep my poker face, but I'm grinning on the inside because we're still leading in unlimited. Judd Buchanan is still pushing.
We're in a position if anybody ahead of us makes a mistake, we're there. So we'll see what happens. A couple of stages yet to go, and I think the telltale will be the last stage of the day.
He could well be prophetic. Now, this is the start of the fast stage into St. Bride's. We're riding with Mark Swain and Mike Bell. Chevrolet is the honored mark this year, and these guys have done a fabulous job. The low-slung Corvette may not be the perfect ride for an event like this, but they've really done Chevy proud. A good part of this stretch is run at the Targa speed limit of 200 kilometers an hour, but there's a tricky right-hander right here. So I'm thinking of trying a NASCAR-style pass under braking against Jakubowski, but discretion is the better part of valor. It's getting crowded on this highway. It's go, go, go for Bill Arnold. And also for Tom Silver, but he makes an uncharacteristic slip. There go a few seconds off of his lead. And that's a big break for Bill Arnold. Tom wasn't the only one. A lot of people missed this corner. It was pretty slippery. Now, Mark Swain in the Corvette is battling with John Painter in that Subaru STI for their category lead. Painter pulls off a pass on the narrow road, but a little bit later,
we're gonna pass the Painter.
Yeah, but it's not like the Painters are broken down or anything. You also get penalized if you arrive at the finish too soon. The Painters had to wait at the side of the road until their time came up. The rugged Killick Coast is the scene of a new stage this year. It's the last one of the event, and it's not over until this one is over.
We're there, man. We're in the zone.
Judd's confident he will at least make the Classic Division top 3. This old Volvo's been having problems pretty much all through the entire week. And if you look closely, you might see one of them might be that the steering wheel's on the wrong side. That's because Ralph Grant's originally from Australia. He and his daughter Alicia aren't likely to win anything, but they are delighted to be able to finish.
The car's really sick, but we made it. We got a Targa plate.
We are so wrapped.
Well, look at this. It looks like the Klustermans are going to finish. There never was much doubt. Their fellow competitors are going to vote for them for the Spirit of Targa award. Here they are, crossing the line.
It's over.
You're finished.
We did.
Good
Every
for you.
stage.
Good for you. You really hung in there.
Thank you very much. Okay. Been a long week.
The Classic Division has come down to this final stage.
Well, there we go, the last leg. And I'll be glad when it's over, because I need a good night's sleep.
Don't let it fool you. This guy is really competitive and he really wants to win. Will his lead stand up? This stage will tell the tale. You know, maybe this guy should give up his day job because he really is a fine rally driver. Ernie Jakubowski has led Modern since day 2. He pretty much just has to keep it on the island. it. You know something? Like all of these guys, this guy's a racer. If he sees another car in front of him, you know what he's gonna do. I heard someone in the crowd say, "What a move." You got that right. Actually, what a week, because Jakubowski does win Modern for the second year in a row.
We managed to finish, and you first got to finish to win.
Bill Arnold and Alan Ryle, they've got one chance left.
I need other cars to take penalties to do it to move up.
But right now, he's just got to drive the drive of his life. Here he's catching, and he's going to pass that naughty little Subaru that took out the Cayenne back in Nora's Arm. Great car, great navigator, and a great driver. Bill Arnold wins Classic for the third year in a row. And Brian and I, we held on to win the Unlimited division.
We took a couple seconds, but hey, we had a great run. We had an absolutely great run.
Well, the fourth annual Targa Newfoundland has come to a close. Everybody who made it this far is really happy because they finished. They all say they want to come back next year. It's important to understand these are not professional racers. These are business people, entrepreneurs. These guys take time off to come here and enjoy this sport and enjoy this province. So we're going to show you a little bit of the celebrations as Targa Newfoundland comes to an end. Brian Crockett and Gail Walker went touring equipped. Mark and Lawrence Hacking aced the touring unequipped. And here on George Street, the celebrations begin.
Can't believe I managed to do it on the wet stages, but pushed the car for everything it was worth and then some that it gave me that I didn't think it had, and it was great.
I didn't win it, but you know what? I placed in the top 3, and I feel really good about that. Bill's a tough competitor, and I'm going back to the humdrum of everyday life, doing my regular job back in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
But the happiest man on the island is Targa President Bob Gnu.
2006, we're going to have our 5th anniversary of Targa, and I promise you this will again pay out. We've done that every year so far.
The most competitors will be back next year. If you want to join us, log on to www.targanewfoundland.com.
In the land of hills and bays, long roads wide